The film opens in a peaceful neighborhood where Cherry, a 23-year-old college student, gets out of a house and drives away. But first things first, every story begins with a prologue. The year is 2007. Cherry doesn't understand the world around him to the point of wondering if he deserves to live at all. Narrating the story of his late life throughout the entire film, Cherry goes to rob a bank when suddenly he realizes that things aren't supposed to end the way he thinks. Then goes part 1, or When Life Was Beginning I Saw You. 5 years earlier, in 2002, while he's in university, Cherry falls in love with Emily. After class, he chats with her a little and brings up his girlfriend, Madison, but that's not really a relationship he can say he's satisfied with. Cherry is seen working in a pizza place, but he can't toss the dough, and so he is sacked within 2 weeks. Afterwards, Cherry moves in with a friend of his named James. One day, Cherry goes to the bank to sort out a mistake with one of his payments. No luck there, as the cash he has paid weren't at all cleared. Later on, Cherry meets a few old buddies and gives them Xanax pills, a prescription for his anxiety, in exchange for a handful of ecstasy pills. Being high, Cherry manages to hit on Emily, and after a few compliments, they both end up making out at his place. The two of them form a relationship. Cherry learns that Emily's dad abuses her and goes on to say that he loves her, but after a little while, Emily breaks up with him as she has decided to go to Montreal to study. Cherry gets a little mad and slams the door. Not only that, but he joins the army in order to mend his broken heart. Emily, however, before leaving for Montreal, calls Cherry and asks him to meet him properly to say goodbye. Emily comes to Cherry's workplace, but Cherry sees her with another guy and tells her to leave. He's devastated by her behavior, but as he returns home, he sees her waiting for him in his bedroom. Emily cries and apologizes to Cherry. The couple has sex, and Emily says that she's not going to Montreal. Cherry is dumbfounded hearing about this and replies that he's already joined the army. After a minor argument between the two, Emily proposes to Cherry, and soon the lovely couple is married. And off to part 2. Basic Training, 2003. Obviously, Cherry is not having the time of his life. He becomes friends with Jimenez, and he is trained by drill sergeants who are suffering from PTSD. Cherry trains to become a combat medic, and guess what? He pulls it through with almost flying colors, which takes us to part 3, named after our dear protagonist. Cherry is now out in the field, more specifically in Iraq, where literally all hell has broken loose. There are explosions, flying bullets, and soldiers yelling at each other. Cherry and Jimenez patch up a pair of wounded soldiers, who are promptly sent away via chopper. Witnessing now the horror of war, Cherry and Jimenez return to base trying to ease their minds a little, but they hear that the guys they put on the chopper have died. Sergeant Green tells them that it's not true. Cherry does his daily routine after Christmas and learns that his parents are offering him and Emily help in buying their first home. Cherry, however, isn't exactly thrilled hearing this. Treating the local populace, Cherry retains his humanity by really assisting and caring for the sick and the children. He even proves to be a cautious and prudent soldier, advising against the use of a specific road to avoid getting trapped in the sand. Unfortunately, the sergeant in charge doesn't listen to him, and after they're stuck in the middle of nowhere, he is left with a few of his team until help arrives. Suddenly, one of the Hummers leaving to get assistance is blown up by a mine. Cherry runs to save his comrades, but it is too late. Shocked by their horrible deaths, Cherry is starting to lose hope. He feels that there is nothing in the world for him now except for Emily, who stands by him through this rough time. Next is part 4, Home, 2005. Cherry returns home and he is awarded with the Medal of Valor. But frankly, the only accomplishment he's proud of is that he didn't die. Together with Emily, he goes to his new house in Ohio, and after a time of taking night courses, Cherry gets a job at Constructions. But he is so damaged from his time in the army, seeing too much of the horrors in the field, that he can't pull himself together. He is having terrible, violent nightmares, and he often breaks out in rage, smashing things and verbally attacking people. Eventually, he ends up taking strong pills to better cope with his life, unfortunately dragging Emily alongside. In the meantime, James, Cherry's old friend, after breaking into his old house, gets arrested. Cherry bails him out and hangs out with him again. Together they indulge in a life full of booze and drugs. In a rare moment of clarity, Cherry agrees to go and see a specialist about his war issues. The doctor prescribes him Oxy, a drug Cherry is already using, and that makes Emily furious. She lashes out at him, but already following in his footsteps, she takes some of his pills. Part 5, opening now, Dope Life. Cherry and Emily have become now addicts, dope fiends, doing lots of drugs. At some point, Cherry is asked from Pills and Cokes, a drug dealer, to pick up a safe and keep it in his house. Emily throws the idea of opening it. James comes to assist, and soon the three of them manage to break open the safe and witness the addict's heaven that lies inside. Losing themselves in a binge of drug use, Cherry and Emily wake up to realize that someone is banging on the door. Thinking it's the police, they ditch the drugs in the toilet. Cherry opens the door, but it's only Pills and Coke who has come to take this safe. Seeing that the safe has been opened, Pills tells them that unless they get a lot of money to his boss, a brutal-looking man by the name Black is going to kill all three of them. Cherry comes up with the idea of robbing a bank. He does the work and pays Pills, who leaves them alone for a little while. Cherry, who has kept a few bucks, has a little feast with Emily, up until the point where he learns that the police are looking for him. Cherry keeps a low profile, but without any resources to buy his drugs, he successfully robs a few more banks. But this life of addiction doesn't always end well. Emily almost dies from heroin overdose, and her mother asks from Cherry to permanently leave from her life. Cherry goes on beast mode and gets old Taz inside his car. After a little while, Cherry tries to convince Emily to go into rehab, but no, she wants to be with him, in love and doing drugs with him till a god knows when. After a first failed attempt because of James's fearfulness, Cherry robs a bank with Pills and Cokes, with an actual gun this time. Pills, however, leaves him alone. Cherry exits the bank and enters the car with James behind the wheel. They drive, trying to get away, but also looking for Pills. They find him wandering in the streets and take him inside the car, but Cherry notices that Pills and Coke has been shot. Taking him to a hospital is not an option, and Pills is left to bleed out and die, his body soon abandoned in a remote area. Black comes soon after and demands his money. Cherry agrees to go on one last robbery. He gives the money to Black and walks on the street. He fires his gun and tosses it away, waiting for the police to come and arrest him. He takes one last shot of heroin and lies down half-conscious. Reaching epilogue spanning from 2007 to 2021. Cherry is seen now in prison, quietly doing his sentence. In the end, due to good behavior, Cherry is released on parole. Walking out the prison, Cherry is reunited with Emily, who is waiting for him outside. They both smile at each other, and that's the end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.